I'm talking about the user defining that. I want the next one in the series, right?
Right.
So it's still user intent driven, but you're packaging something for them. I find that most apps, I think, what's the statistics like? Most apps drop off by like 80% after 3 weeks. As far as users actually interacting with
and really most of them are free too, the ones
right.
that are purchased. So, well, you know, I think another advantage is that if you have an app of your choice, okay, so that you as the user, the end user, are choosing that, you know, I want the Borders app, or I want to use the Nook app, because all of those, even if these companies have their own readers and their own you know, devices, they also make them available as apps.
Right.
So they're all basically competing to be your library provider, right? And the nice thing here is that anything that I've bought as a book, and I think I would argue in the future also, you know, publications, it's all, you know, nicely organized on my bookshelf, right? And I don't have to then search for the right app for it. I just know that, okay, go find my, you know, my app of choice.
Is there a way to build in like an interactive, non-linear reading experience into these, like say you have a story about the raids on a meatpacking plant that hired a lot of illegal immigrants, and so you read that story as part of this ebook, and then at the end of it you have, you know, follow what happened to this family that was arrested in this raid, and there was also a story that the newspaper had done that profiled the family associated with this. Or you have like 3 options that you can follow in that one scenario, and it'll take you to another.
Yeah, my phone does.
Your mom's in the
build
limbo.
something
Okay.
like that in these ebooks?
I mean, you can put links into it, although in our system, as Steve knows, it's kind of hard to do that right now. I think also, well, I'll just jump ahead because everyone's getting to the end of my presentation, kind of where things are going. It doesn't have to be just text. So this is actually, it's not the best example, but this is actually just a test of something in iBooks where we embedded a video. And so you could have storytelling kind of included in there, and then they can go full screen, right? So that's, I think that's one way to do that, you know, to add, you know, more depth. You could also put advertising in it, which is what I think this was kind of the idea for that.
Hey everybody,
right.
I'm Chloe Costco.
So imagine, you know, having, I think that the storytelling possibilities in the future are going to be a lot, you'll be able to do a lot more. But in terms of the experience, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I get back to my very first point. Remember the fact that people are buying these in larger and larger quantities. They're buying ebooks because they think of them as books. And will they be more likely to buy an interactive app with a timeline that you know, tells the story in a much better way as an app or as an ebook? I'd actually put my money into the ebook right now because it's so much less expensive to create. You know, I think you could do an app, but you have to have that think through the ROI. So in the context of making money, which I think is what this conference is sort of about, I'd say, you know, like fish where the fish are and go where, you know, it's like the, you know, the highest immediate payoff and the lowest investment. And then over time, I think the consumer will drive that, right? And you'll see Apple will be the one that will then push the envelope there, and then everyone will just follow.
This product certainly sounds very, very important right now. Where do you see it going in the next 5–10 years as it becomes more ubiquitous and easier for an individual author to publish online? Surely you expect somebody to come along and present the BookBrewer that's free of charge.
Oh.
That does everything that you've done, and where do you go from there?
Are you an investor? That's the investor job.
I'm not looking to buy it.
No. I mean, my general feeling about product innovation, and this is based on having worked on lots of products and then seen it happen, is that you're only as good as the next thing you do, right? So we don't see our value being solely tied to, hey, it's so easy to create your ebook, but it's a great way for us to build an audience of people who, for the first time, I could say it's an audience of people who are paying for something, which is really, you know, great. So, you know, my transition from being a journalist to being a business person, it's like now I have an audience and they're actually paying to get in. It's a totally different kind of world. And I think there's a lot of other services that we can provide. So my company is called FeedBrewer, not BookBrewer. BookBrewer is just the first product, and we're planning on allowing you to, within one click, if you created an ebook, to turn it into an app that then has the multimedia, to send it to, we're actually just about to roll out print on demand in a way that will be much, it'll be a lot lower barrier to entry than anyone else is doing this. Where for $60 you can enable your ebook as a print-on-demand book and get it sent to you, one copy for $6. And we're going to actually do that through a printer right here in Denver that's tied to Consolidated Graphics. But there's been this huge revolution in printing technologies too. So there's always going to be other channels, I think, that people want to get to. And so our vision is that it's published once, distributed everywhere. And we're starting with ebooks because there's demand.
What's your so let's say one of us decides we're going to start publishing once an ebook, not every day, but let's say once a month or something. And, who sets the pricing and what is the pricing?
Well, you do within the restrictions placed by the retailers. Mm-hmm. But if you're selling it yourself on your own website, if you have a file, you 100% control the price. Mm-hmm. So it kind of depends. You know, if you think of it in terms of wholesale and retail, that's maybe one way to look at it. If you're providing it directly to your audience, it's more of a wholesale model, and then you can kind of choose. With Amazon and Apple, kind of they're leading this right now, and they always take 70%.
Right.
I'm sorry, they always take 30%, as long as your book is under $9.99. They have these ridiculous rules. With our system, we try to make it really simple, and we just send it out and then tell you, here's your money. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting your presentation, your continuing of it, but I'm wondering what you thought about the idea of Amazon singles, which Amazon is pitching for the type of stuff that this group would do versus going through the main bookstore.
I think it's kind of, I mean, I think it's great they're doing that. I kind of wonder why they promote that as its own product.
Yeah, how is it great? You said you think it's great. How is it?
Well, I think it's a good. I think it's a good idea to tell people, hey, if you have smaller pieces of content, then you can make those available as a book too. What I don't understand is why they're calling it something other than a book, because really what they're doing is saying, hey, the barriers to entry are much lower. You don't have to come up with something that is 300 pages, right? Because we've learned this with BookBrewer. People come in the door and they assume that they actually ask us, how long should my book be? They think we're like experts in their book, and we're like, how long do you want it to be? So I think it's only a good thing, but I don't understand why they promoted it as a product yet. So we actually don't really distribute anything as singles. We just send them into the Amazon bookstore as well as Borders, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and nobody has asked us to do that too. So I think they're trying to create some demand around something. That said, I think obviously they got the attention of New York Times and ProPublica, and so the marketing worked. But I think it's primarily marketing because they show up on the same device, right, and the same apps. It's not really fundamentally different.
Right. And any hints on kind of marketing, like how do you get Borders to promote your, let's say CAR does something in one of these joint projects with multiple partners, and maybe a 50-page book on campus.
Well, I got a great answer for that.
How is there a way to sort of get attention of the booksellers, tricks getting on?
Well, I don't want to make this commercial, but so we run the service for Borders too, and they're actually looking for quality content to feature, and they're featuring about 5 titles a month on their main ebook page, and when they do that, the sales go through the roof. So if any of you end up publishing a book there, you should call me, and then I can help you get featured. Because I actually make the recommendations to them. And I suspect there are similar people like that at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I'm not that guy, but I think once you get in one channel, you get a book to really start to get noticed, then it sort of snowballs. But you can't just assume the retailer will do everything for you. I think they kind of put a stamp of approval on you. But you're getting into an area I'm not actually the expert in, but I'm having to become the expert because so many people are asking me that. Well, so I got a few kind of suggestions on do's and don'ts if you decide to create ebooks. One, start with raw data as much as possible. So text and photos. Also, if you have multimedia content, keep that ready because it'll be possible pretty soon to then make that available in your ebook. But try to, as much as possible, avoid starting from something that was created for print, like a PDF or anything with a lot of rich layout, because you're going to lose that. The format of EPUB is just not really, the whole form factor is not about that. people can choose their own font size, they can increase and decrease the font, and there's really no layout to speak of at this point. I think that will change over time.